My daughter needed a bedside table for her new apartment, so we decided to scan through Pinterest to see what general ideas we could get to build one. Considering we were going to paint the bedside table to match the headboard, I decided to use plywood for the top and the two shelves. In order to decrease tear out, run a line of tape along your cut line. My projects are usually made out of either old barn lumber or rough sawn lumber, so I have a lot of extra pieces of solid oak laying around. So that's what I used to build the frame for the bedside table. That bizarro stance is because my jointer is on casters, and I usually forget to lock the brakes. If you were going to make this project out of either like plywood or dimensional lumber from the big box stores, you wouldn't need to deal with the jointing part at all. When I'm squaring up this narrow edge, I normally would run it through multiple times, but I just showed it once because I think you get the picture. After the boards are squared up, cut to your specific size with your table saw and your miter saw. But if you don't have a miter saw, you can always use a jigsaw or a bandsaw or even a hand saw to get them to the right specifics. Using the Craig jig to make the pocket holes worked really well for building the frame for the bedside table. Even though I managed to lose the little hex nut that held the collar in place, it worked out okay as long as I was just careful of how deep each cut went. So now it's time to assemble the frame, and in hindsight I definitely should have clamped the pieces together as I was screwing them, but in the end it worked out okay. After I assembled each of the frames, I wanted to double check just to make sure that everything fit together as I was expecting. The legs need to fit on the outside of the frames and the lower two shelves, but inside the overhang of the top. So now I'm ready to attach each of the frames that'll hold each of the shelves to the legs. The last part of the assembly is to flip the table over and then attach the shelves to the frames, but one of my clamps opted not to participate. Thankfully, the other clamps were more willing participants, so I was able to run a screw underneath the frame into the bottom of the shelf. 3/4 inch edge banding works really good to cover up the layers of the plywood on the shelves. I would recommend you use a separate iron in the shop from in the house because sometimes glue can get stuck on the bottom of the iron, which makes it tricky if you're using it in the house. A little peek at it before we do the paint. The corners were a little bit sharp, but a little hand sanding will take that right off. Final step is add a coat of paint, which will match the headboard of the bed. Really hope you enjoyed this video. It was a fun project to build, and it took just a little bit over a day to finish with the painting. Thanks for watching, and I'd really appreciate it if you could give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe so you can catch any other future projects. And don't forget, you can catch me also on Instagram under Twisted Twine Woodworking. Have a great day, folks.